Most people spend their entire lives chasing happiness without ever realizing they've been walking right past it every single day. Strange, isn't it? We spend years changing jobs, changing cities, changing relationships, hoping the next chapter will finally make us feel different. Hoping the next version of our life will be the one that finally feels like enough. But it never does. And so we keep moving, keep chasing, keep arriving somewhere new, only to find the same hollow feeling waiting for us there. What if that wasn't a personal failure? What if it was simply the wrong direction? We spend years changing jobs, changing cities, changing relationships, hoping the next chapter will finally make us feel different. We reach the raise, the relationship, the house, the milestone, and within weeks, sometimes days, it starts to feel ordinary. The finish line moves. It always moves. And somewhere underneath all that motion is a quiet, exhausting question most people never stop long enough to actually ask. What if happiness was never hiding in a bigger life? What if it was hiding inside the smallest things you repeat every single morning? Somewhere in the world right now, a person with less money than you, less time than you, and far more problems than you is more at peace than you are. Not because life handed them something easier, not because they got fortunate, but because without even fully realizing it, they built a small collection of daily practices into the way they move through their days. Practices so understated you'd walk straight past them if no one stopped you to point them out. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what those practices are. Not vague advice like think positive or be present. Real, repeatable, specific actions that the calmest and most grounded people alive use every single day. Habits that come from 2,000 years of stoic understanding, from men who buried their children, lost entire empires, were exiled from everyone and everything they loved, and still found a way to genuine peace. And then there's Carl Jung. Jung believed that what we repeat eventually becomes who we are. Not what we intend, not what we wish for, what we actually do, day after day, in the quiet hours when no one is watching. And today, you're about to discover why some people remain steady and grounded, even when life gives them every reason not to. Stay until the end, because the final habit on this list is the one almost nobody talks about openly, and it may be the most clarifying idea you've ever sat with. Welcome to Carl Jung philosophy, where the deepest wisdom of human psychology meets the life you're actually living right now. Let's begin with something uncomfortable. You have probably been pursuing happiness in the wrong direction for most of your life. Not because you're unwise, because everyone around you has been chasing it the same wrong way. The next position, the next relationship, the next purchase, the next milestone that will finally make you feel like you've truly arrived. And perhaps you've noticed something quietly troubling. Every time you do arrive somewhere, the destination moves. You receive the promotion, and 2 months later it feels ordinary, and you're already reaching for the next one. You find the relationship, and eventually the initial intensity settles into routine, and some quiet part of you starts wondering what's missing. This isn't weakness. It's a documented psychological pattern called hedonic adaptation. Human beings return to a stable emotional baseline regardless of what happens to them, good or bad. Studies show that lottery winners and people who experience devastating physical losses both return to close to their original happiness levels within roughly a year. The Stoics understood this more than 2,000 years before modern psychology gave it a name. They watched it play out around them. Powerful senators, celebrated generals, wealthy poets, all chasing external things and ending up miserable. While exiles, prisoners, and people with almost nothing sometimes achieved a quality of inner peace that fortune could never purchase. And from observing this pattern again and again, they arrived at a simple and radical conclusion. Happiness is not something that happens to you. It is something you construct day by day through what you do with your hours, not your circumstances. Your habits. Picture two people for a moment. Same city, same income, same number of difficulties in any given week. One of them wakes up already reaching for their phone, spends the day responding to whatever demands the loudest attention, internally argues with everything that doesn't go according to plan, falls asleep scrolling, running through the day's frustrations on a quiet, endless loop. The other wakes up with a few quiet minutes that belong only to them, meets the same frustrations with a different internal question, directs their energy only toward what's genuinely theirs to influence, and closes the day with a short, honest reflection before sleep. Same city, same salary, same number of hard things happening in any given month. Completely different internal experience of being alive. That gap, the space between those two people, is not talent. It is not luck. It is not personality. It is habit, repeated until it becomes identity. This video is going to walk you through 9 of those habits, simple, accessible, almost ordinary in their appearance, but grounded in both ancient Stoic philosophy and modern psychology. These aren't habits practiced by monks on mountaintops with no responsibilities. They were practiced by emperors conducting wars, philosophers who lost everything, and ordinary people buried in deadlines, bills, difficult relationships, and the weight of daily life. Habit 1. Marcus Aurelius was, by any measure, one of the most powerful men who ever lived. Emperor of Rome, commander of legions, a man whose choices shaped the fate of millions. And yet, most mornings of his adult life, before the demands of the empire arrived, he did something remarkably unremarkable. He sat down, often before sunrise, often exhausted, often reluctant, and he wrote to himself. We know this because those private notes survived. We call them meditations today, though he never intended them for anyone else's eyes. In one of the most well-known passages, he writes something like this to himself. At dawn, when you have trouble rising, tell yourself, I am getting up to do the work of a human being. Why should I be troubled when I am going out to do what I was made for? Think about that. The most powerful man in the known world had to talk himself into getting out of bed. He wrestled with the same resistance you feel on a Monday morning. The difference wasn't that he possessed some superhuman motivation the rest of us lack. The difference is that he had a ritual, a moment before the noise began, where he intentionally decided who he was going to be that day. Grounded people do not simply wake up and allow the day to claim them. They protect the first few minutes as their own, before their phone, before their inbox, before anyone else's demands enter the room. It doesn't need to be an hour of meditation and journaling and cold exposure. That's the version social media sells you, and it's exhausting just to observe. For most people who genuinely maintain this practice, it's 5 or 10 minutes. A cup of coffee in silence. A short walk before checking a single notification. A few lines in a notebook about what genuinely matters today, separate from what merely feels urgent. Here's why this functions the way it does, and it's not mystical, it's mechanical. The first thing you do each morning establishes the orientation of your nervous system for hours afterward. If the first action you take is opening your phone and absorbing 15 strangers' opinions, 3 situations that feel like emergencies but aren't, and a stream of comparison through social media, you have handed the direction of your emotional state to other people before you've even stood up. Epictetus, a man who spent years as a slave before becoming one of history's most significant philosophers, stated it plainly. Some things are within our power, and some things are not. Your circumstances arrive whether you want them to or not. But how you meet them, that first internal orientation, that belongs to you. Claim it before the world does. Try this tomorrow. Before you reach for your phone, before you check anything, give yourself 60 seconds. Just 60 to ask one question. Who do I want to be today, regardless of what happens? You don't need a perfect answer. You just need to ask before the noise begins. If you're choosing to take back the first minutes of your day, drop 11 in the comments. Let it be a promise to yourself, not to anyone else. Write 11. I claim the first minutes of my day. But mornings are only the beginning, because even if you start your day with complete intention, life will eventually interrupt your plans. Something will go wrong. Someone will disappoint you. A situation will land in front of you that you didn't choose and didn't want. And that's exactly where the second habit quietly changes everything. Habit 2. There's a story about Epictetus that captures this habit more effectively than any explanation could. As a young slave, his leg was broken. Some accounts attribute this to his master's cruelty. Others describe an accident. Whatever the cause, historical tradition holds that Epictetus responded to the pain not with rage, but with something closer to composed observation, calmly noting that the continued force would fracture the limb, and when it did, simply acknowledging that he had said so. No collapse, no hysteria. He accepted what had already occurred, because fury directed at a bone that is already broken does not repair it. That story might sound almost inhuman at first, but sit with it for a moment, because something profound is resting inside it. The majority of human suffering isn't caused by events themselves. It's caused by our resistance to events that have already happened and cannot be reversed. Someone cuts you off in traffic. The event lasts 2 seconds. But some people carry the frustration from that 2-second moment for the next 30 minutes, replaying it, narrating it internally, allowing it to contaminate an entire morning. The traffic didn't ruin their day, their argument with a reality that had